and welcome to another episode of the Dental Hygiene Basics podcast. My name is Dana. I'm your host. I'm always excited to be here with you, and I'm trying out some new things. I'm trying out some video podcasting. And when you're learning new things, it's always fun. It's always challenging. And what you realize is there's always room for improvement. So as I'm getting some new things set up, I've got some new branding for Dental Hygiene Basics. I've got this camera, this ring light, all the things, right? And then I'm looking at my background around me. I'm like, I've got some work to do. Now, if you could see my office, you would see that everything in front of me is like, it looks good. Okay. I've got dual monitors. I've got the mic. I've got all the amazing things here. And the rest of my office has really been neglected. But one thing you can see in the back is my whiteboard. And that's something new that I'm starting with, doing a few more whiteboard videos. So I'm excited to be here recording. And, I'm here today just to talk. I don't know, kind of an unusual situation for me. Usually when I think about what am I going to record for the podcast, I feel super inspired and I come up with some idea on the fly, usually when I'm out on a walk or if I'm journaling or any moment of quiet, I feel like thoughts come up to me. But one thing that's been really evident in my life recently, I've been going through some medical issues. I had surgery. Everything's going to be a-okay. So you don't have to worry about me. But one thing that I've really been reflecting on is my life and what I want my life to look like moving forward. And when I think about that, I really think about how necessary it is to pare down our lives and put our focus on the most important things. So, for example, you may say that family is your number one priority, or your spouse, or your friends, or your dog, or whatever that may be. But when you're looking at your schedule, does it actually reflect what your biggest priorities are? Because I'm going to go ahead and say right now, mine does not. And it did not for a long time. And this is something that I'm really thinking about more and more, again, as I'm prioritizing myself, prioritizing my health. And of course, everything I think about in relationship to me always translates back to my students, because I really think in dental hygiene school, we can lose a part of ourselves. Now, when you're in dental hygiene school, I'm going to be honest with you. The priority is dental hygiene school, right? You have to put your all into it. You have to be dedicated. You have to really, really make that high priority, because that's the goal, is to get through dental hygiene school and achieve this career as a dental hygienist. So your priorities will shift and change throughout your lives. And I just want to let you know that it's okay while you're in dental hygiene school to make dental hygiene a priority and to kind of maybe sometimes let other things go by the wayside. But with that being said, some things that I let go by the wayside in dental hygiene school and that really I never got back in control of would be things like sleep, diet, stress management. I was putting band-aids on a lot of those areas in my life. I'm having trouble sleeping. Okay, I'm going to take a Benadryl tonight because I know I need a good night's sleep because I've got this big thing tomorrow and I know I'm going to have trouble sleeping. Or, I'm super busy. I don't have time to cook. I'm just going to drive through and eat Chick-fil-A. I think I've said this before. I am not going to hate on Chick, obviously. They have some healthy options, and there are times when you have to prioritize what's going to happen right now. And if you need to eat, you need to eat. But I want you to think about, how do we set you up for the best chance of success in dental hygiene school and beyond? And I think there are these really important pillars that we tend to let go of whenever life gets crazy, whenever life gets stressful. And the people who are most successful are the ones who are consistently taking care of themselves daily. So what does that look like? You have to prioritize sleep. Sleep is so, so important. And sleep plays an incredible role in helping you to process, remember. So if you are not sleeping well, you are going to struggle more. Okay. If you are like, I'm going to stay up till 3 a.m. in the morning so that I can cram and study for this test, I'm going to be ready tomorrow, that actually might be doing you more harm than good. Okay. And I see what happens is people get behind early on in the program, and then they're just running on a deficit through the entire program. And what does that mean? What does that look like? What that looks like is you're scrambling last minute to study, to get projects done, to prepare for tests. You are struggling with your grades. Maybe they aren't as high as you would like, or you're not performing as well as you would like. You're maybe not feeling very well, right? Because you constantly feel like there's this to-do list of things that has to get done and you are on the edge of it, right? You're literally living in the moment, getting things done as soon as they are due. That puts so much stress, and stress is a cycle, right? So if you're behind and you're having all those emotions, what do? We stay up later, we, prioritize things in a different manner than we should. And then what happens? You're stressed out, so you don't sleep as well. And then you just end up in this kind of cycle. So, what I want you to make sure that you prioritize going into dental hygiene school is yourself. You have to protect the asset. You are the asset, and sleep is your most important asset. Okay. You can survive days without water. You can survive weeks without food. I learned this in a CE. You can barely survive, 24 hours without sleep. Okay. That's a little bit of an exaggeration, but if you go 24 hours without sleep, your cognitive abilities, they decline so much. Okay. In Texas, they always have the big signs on the road when you're driving, and it's like, you drive lousy when you're drowsy. And it's so true. It's like you've drank a ton of alcohol whenever you are operating with little or minimal sleep. And those sleep deficits, if you're not getting enough sleep on the regular, it just gets worse over time. Eventually, your body will crash out and it will force you to sleep. What we end up seeing happening is you end up with some type of like chronic upset stomach issue, or some people, they have such physical pain, they literally can't get out of bed. Your body can only operate on this capacity for so long. It will shut down at some point. For me, it didn't happen until way after dental hygiene school, but the signs were there leading up to it. Okay. So I want you to prioritize yourself and prioritize sleep. Hi, students. I want to take a quick pause to say thank you to our amazing sponsor, Student RDH. Student RDH is a board prep company that helps you succeed and pass the national board exam, whether you are in the US or Canada. Student RDH has everything that you need to be successful on the board exam. There are over 5,000 practice questions, 2 mock exams, and a pre-assessment, a post-assessment. There's online videos. There's an incredible textbook. And there are even live sessions. So we have live case study sessions, and those help to get you ready for the case study section of the board exam, which if you're taking the NBDA, that's 43% of the exam right there. So being successful on the cases is important, and Student RDH can help with that. I love Student RDH. I've actually worked for them as a faculty member for over 2 years, and the dedication behind the scenes for the students is what keeps me working with them and is what makes me happy to have them as a sponsor. Student RDH is also a huge supporter of the Dental Hygiene Basics Scholarship. So we want to give a huge thank you to Student RDH. Make sure you go follow them on socials at Student RDH and go check out their website when you're starting to shop for your board exams, studentrdh.com. All right, let's get into the episode. The next thing, nutrition and hydration. So when we think about caring for yourself, we think about the pillars of health. What are the most important things you need to survive on a daily basis? You need a roof over your head, you need good sleep, and you need water and nutrition. You need food. What are you doing on a daily basis that's maybe not aligning those factors? Okay. Are you only drinking caffeine? Are you mainly drinking energy drinks? Do you mainly drink soda? Our bodies are 90% water. They need water. But make sure that you're prioritizing hydration. It's one of the easiest things that we can do for ourselves on a daily basis, and your brain loves to be hydrated. The other thing too is food. You have to fuel your brain. Your brain loves glucose. Glucose is in a lot of unhealthy things like candy, cupcakes, starches, things that maybe aren't as good for us. But eliminating carbs completely is not a good thing either, because our brain runs on glucose. And where do we find that? In carbs. Okay. So making sure that you're planning out your meals in advance, you're caring for yourself, you're thinking through, how do I take the best care of myself? If you start with those priorities and you build on those, you are going to see an improvement in your ability to think better, perform better, and to just overall be happier in dental hygiene school. Okay. So I hope that you take these things to heart and that you start thinking, if you're not in school already, I want you to start thinking, how am I going to prioritize sleep, nutrition, hydration? Okay. Those are your top 3 priorities. Maybe I'm going to set a time and I go to bed at the same time every night, regardless of the situation, or, on the weekdays or whatever that is. I'm going to make sure my room is completely black. I'm not going to bring screens into my room. I'm going to journal before bed. I'm going to get out all these like crazy thoughts, whatever it is that helps you to have the best night's sleep. I want you to start working on that now. That is imperative. Then food, hydration, get you a big old cup and carry it with you everywhere you go. Okay. Now you can't have it on the clinic floor. Okay. In clinic, in dental hygiene school and beyond, you're not supposed to have food and drink in your operatory. But if you have a locker or you have a place where you keep your bag, you can keep those items in there. All right. But make sure even throughout your appointments at dental hygiene school, if you need to step away and drink some water, you need to do that because again, our brains and our bodies do not perform as well when they are dehydrated. What else happens when we're dehydrated? Increased risk for things like urinary tract infections. Okay. We don't need all that. We got people to take care of. So take care of yourself first so that you can take care of others. When it comes to food, I definitely encourage you to consider meal prepping in whatever way works best for you. Maybe to do it once a week on Sundays, or maybe you do it 2 or 3 times a week. You just have a time where you decompress, put some music on or put your favorite show on, cook for yourself and have your meals planned out. If you can eliminate extra stressors in your day to day life, it makes dental hygiene school easier. So you want to try and pare down. And by paring down, I want you to focus on what is most essential to keep you thriving and surviving in dental hygiene school. Again, we've talked about sleep, we've talked about food, we've talked about hydration, but also paring back to the essentials. So again, what are the most essential things in your life? What help you to feel good, to, be a good human being? For me, things outside of sleep, hydration, nutrition, going on walks. I am not a big exerciser, but I love to walk. And when I walk, I feel that stress come out of me. Everyone's going to have their own thing. Yours might be knitting. It might be getting out your garden, whatever that may be. I want you to make time to do that ideally every single day. We need to have priorities put into place to care for you first. Then everything comes next. Okay. So in my life, things that I'm trying to work on now, sleep, nutrition, hydration, exercise is something I'm really trying to prioritize. Journaling, meditation, reading, those are all very important to me. And I like to do that a little bit on a daily basis. Okay. From there, the next priority, besides like family, obviously all of that's included. It's important for me to spend time with my family, my spouse, my friends, but you're going to have a little less of that in dental hygiene school. Okay. Remember, we have to think about what's the biggest priority in the moment. And yes, relationships are very important, but this is a short time in your life. We have to prioritize the dental hygiene school. That comes next. After that, there's really not much else that's high on the priority list. Okay. Unless you're putting it there. So I really want you to ask yourself, where are your priorities and how are you going to put them first to make sure that you show up as your best self every single day and that you continue to show up as your best self beyond dental hygiene school? Because again, the habits we start to make now, and you're probably making some already that aren't benefiting you, it's what we're going to continue making throughout the rest of our careers. And again, we have to protect you, protect the asset. I read that in a book. What was the book called? I think it was Essentialism. And that's really what spurred a lot of this conversation. So I've been reading a lot of books about narrowing your focus and really getting down to the nitty gritty. And Essentialism was a very great book about that. So anyways, thank you so much for tuning in to, I think this is my first solo video podcast. I'm very excited to be here, support you. Best of luck on your journey, future registered dental hygienist.